What's going on, everybody? It's Carson C. Graham here. I want to welcome everybody and super excited. Just give us a second here, just making sure that we're live here. You could see us, so I appreciate everyone's patience, and I'm super excited. This is going to be a great episode. So I want to welcome everybody back to Tea Time with Financial Tea, and we talk about everything, right? So money conversations, uh, business conversations, and more, and hoping to inspire and motivate you all. So if you guys can, make sure you start inviting all your friends to the conversation. This is going to be really, really awesome because I got some really, 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 really awesome information to share with you all with our really special guest. So super, super excited. So, all right. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just getting a little bit of feedback. So give me 1 sec. Catch it up. All right. Here we go. Much better. Okay, that's technology for you guys. Never try to have it perfect, but hey, everything looks good on my side. So just let us know where you're tuning in from. I know I got some people on the East Coast and pretty much everywhere, but we always love to see where you guys are tuning in from. So let's go ahead and get into it real quick here. So first and foremost, for those of you guys that are new to the channel, my name is Carson C. Graham. I'm the founder and executive director of Financial Tea. We're a financial nonprofit organization here in Houston, Texas, but we serve throughout the South. And we're on a mission to create, safe spaces and financial access really for everybody. So it's important that we highlight, local business owners and people that are truly making a difference. So you will see us doing a lot of different interviews. So thanks for tuning in. All right. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready to bring up my guest. So let's get started, man. I'm excited. So first and foremost, here is Brigitte. Uh,
Project.
Brigitte. I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
I literally had it down packed before I got on here in the
You
live,
did.
but
It's
thank
okay.
you, Brigitte. I should know because
Jet,
you're
like a bridge and a jet.
Brigitte. I
Yes.
said it right. There we go. See,
Project.
she's gonna make sure we say it right, and I appreciate that. She's
No worries.
very, very dynamic, and I literally met you like my first month here in Houston when I first moved here, so it's super exciting. So Brigitte,
Project.
Brigitte, Brigitte. Come
Project.
on, Carson, get it right. I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous.
I am because you're a big deal. Like they don't know, but they're
Oh,
about to know.
you're sweet.
Okay, so Brigitte has been in the public relations business for over 20 to 21 years, probably longer than that. And I'm gonna let you introduce yourself because I'm so excited. Because again, y'all gonna see why I'm nervous in a minute.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Go ahead.
Uh, Good evening, everyone. My name is Bridgette Holden. I am the CEO and principal owner of She Bridges PR. I rebranded back in 2019. So the name of my company used to be S. Charles Public Relations. I have been in the PR realm industry for actually be 22 years in March, coming up in March. I started in March of 2002 because I was frustrated. I used to work in television and in radio, and I was a little frustrated with the media people, if you will,
Mm.
and started my own business. And as I say, the rest is her story, not his story, but her story, because I'm a girl.
It only makes sense.
It absolutely,
You gotta own that. You see that you're that's a
absolutely,
part of branding too. I know we're gonna talk
it
about that a
is.
little bit too. Okay, so I do have a couple of questions for you. So first and foremost, thank you for coming on the show. I'm super
Thank you for having
excited.
me. I'm excited.
Uh,
Thank you for having me.
yeah, no problem. And I'm already thinking of all the questions I want to ask. But hey, y'all only gonna get about 30 minutes, 40 minutes of her. So y'all better drop them questions in the comments and stuff like that as well. So all right, so let me ask you this. So, what made you get into public relations, right? So, I'm just kind of curious, like how did that all begin? You know?
So it's a funny story. My son hates for me to tell this story, but I started back, like I told you, I was in television and then I went into radio. And I was building a house, planning a wedding, and doing all of this at the same time. And so this radio station, which was here in Houston, it used to be called 97.5. And I was like the heartbeat of the station. And then I was there before anyone got there, and then stayed after everyone left. So basically, my son started having tantrums. Now he's 4 years old. And so now my fiance, then husband, now ex-husband, he he was kind of taking up the slack. And so children who can't really express themselves at 4, because he didn't know what was going on, it's just like, okay, where's my mom? And so to express that, he started having tantrums. And I would leave and go check on him. Now children are very smart, and so it's kind of like, oh, okay, so if I have a tantrum, then my mom will come. And we got to
Mm.
do it. However, like I said, I was closing on a house and doing all these things at the same time. So there was an issue basically. And it was like, well, we're going to have to write you up because, and if anybody's ever closed on a home, you have to sign like a big old stack of papers. And they were like, well, you didn't call in and da da da. I was like, no, I did. And so went through that. So they were like, well, we have to write you up. And I was like, are you kidding me? You're going to write me up? I'm here before anyone gets here. I'm here after anyone gets here. I barely see my child. And they were like, well, yeah. And I was like, well, I'm not signing it because, it's not fair. So like, well, we need you to sign it and put it in your file. We'll just, get over this. So I said, I'll do one better for you. So I got up, went into my office, wrote my 2 weeks notice. I said, here, you can put this in my file. And so this man looked at me and he was like, you can't quit. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, because you just bought a house and you need this job. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh wow.
So yeah, yes, he said
Uh,
that.
okay.
He had the audacity, the
Oh.
mitigated gall to say that to me. And so I was like, okay. And I said, well, I can show you better than I can tell you. And in 2 weeks, they hadn't hired anyone. I was packing up my office. And he said, where are you going? I said, you have my 2 week notice. It's in my file. And he said, well, no, we need you. We didn't think you were serious. We thought it was because I'm going to make sure that I leave in good standing. So I'm
Mhm.
still doing my job, still being, amazing. And because I'm not going to let you, say anything against me. And so he was like, can you just please give us 2 more weeks? I said, sure. I wrote another 2 week notice with that date, just so you don't get it twisted. So then those 2 weeks passed. And then they finally hired somebody. So then they were like, well, can you just please stay another 2 weeks to train this young lady? Again, I gave them another 2 week notice. So I gave them 3 2 week
Wow.
notices because I was not playing. So then when I leave, finally, the young lady starts calling me. And I said, so who do I need to send my consultation to, bill to? They're like, what are you saying? I said, well, I trained the young lady for 2 weeks. It's not my fault that she doesn't get it. So
Right.
you either have her get it or I can put you guys on contract. Never heard from them ever again. And they couldn't say anything because I did everything by the book. Each time they said, give us another 2 weeks, I gave them another notice with my name signed and I kept copies.
Mhm.
And I had him sign it too, the general
Wow.
manager. Oh yeah. That's first thing I learned in college was CYA. Everyone knows what that means. Cover your so that's how I
Yeah.
covered myself. I made sure that I had him sign it and I signed it and I kept a copy. Because the first time he tried to pretend like he didn't see it, I was like, oh, no worries. I have a copy. He was like, wait, what? Yeah. Don't.
Mm.
so
Wow.
so after that, then I left and I started freelance writing. So I'm also a freelance journalist.
Mm.
So I started writing for a couple of publications. And then a friend of mine started a company called We Solve, which was like a intermediate mediation company because she was a Juris Doctorate and she wanted this program she had. She would go into schools and she would talk to kids who had gotten into fights or gotten in trouble. She would be like that last like the last resort before getting expelled. And if the kids could solve their problems, then they could stay in school or have like a 1 day in school suspension. So, she contacted me and she was like, didn't you just leave radio and all this stuff? And I was like, yeah. She said, well, I need a press release. So I wrote a press release for her, ended up getting her on a radio talk show, a television show, and a magazine article. And so she took me to lunch and she
Wow.
handed me a check for $100. Now, all of this took me probably an hour because, when you're in the industry, you have connections, you build
Mhm.
connections. And she, wrote a check and she said, here. And I said, what is this for? She said, because I'm hiring you as my publicist. And I said, well, I said, no, I said, that only took me an hour. She said, well, then here you go. Here's your rate, $100 an hour.
Wow.
It's like, okay. So I took that check. I opened up a DBA, opened up a business account. And, like I said, the rest is her story. I know it's kind of long. I was trying to give you a day version, but
So
That's basically how I got into PR. So she was one of my very first clients, and that was in March of 2002.
wow, wow. Like for sure that's memorable because you took us down a journey of how not only that your employer at the time was just like, well, you just got a job. I mean, you just got a house.
Right,
We know you're not going anywhere,
right.
and it's crazy. Like, but you took that and fueled that to do your own thing. Like, you're like, no, I'm gonna show you.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Like saying I can
yeah,
show you better than I can tell you.
absolutely. And to be honest, I mean, people don't realize the worst thing you want to do is challenge a woman and say you can't do it because you gonna do it. you
And
know,
and this, like my dad says, his child, the stubborn one, yeah, absolutely.
and it's amazing because unfortunately, some people don't have the courage to say, okay, yeah, I did just get a house. I did just got a car. Like, they feel like you're because we're taught in school, get a good job, go to school, play it safe. To me, it's playing safe.
Right.
And
Oh wait, they
right,
still teach you guys that?
of course they do.
Well, no, because
I
in
mean, I'm
my
not in school now, but
no, no, no,
you
no. But
know.
I know I'm older than you. I don't know how much older I am.
Yeah.
However, for my parents, the baby boomers, it was
Mhm.
go to school, get a good job, stay until you get the gold watch.
The gold watch.
Right. For your 20 years, 30 years, 50 years of service.
Wow.
You get a gold watch. And so
Wow.
that was like the prize. And then, our generation, and as each generation has come behind us, it's like, I don't want to be a slave
Mhm.
to you or anybody else. Work
Yeah.
should be fun.
Yeah.
And when it's fun, it's not work.
Mm.
I look at it.
I love that. I love that. That's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah, no, yeah. So I'm a millennial, but like, I'm an old soul. So
Oh
I
my
feel
God.
like, listen, I gotta just
You
be.
do know I'm a Gen Xer, right?
That's fine. But I'm saying I connect with everybody because I
I
just,
get it. I get
you
it. You
know,
talk about your old
yeah,
soul. Really? You're not.
I am. But thank
No, you're not. I'm probably old enough to be your mom.
yeah, maybe, but you don't
You're
look
not
like it. It's
supposed to
okay.
say that. You're supposed to say, "Oh, you don't look like it." So
I did. I said you don't look like
okay,
it.
okay, okay. I'll let you slide.
Yeah, give me some slack.
I'll give you some slack. I'll give you some slack.
Yeah, so no, you'd be surprised because because I'll play all types of music. I'll be like, what does he know about that? And they'll be like, oh yeah, he's old. So, but because when I was 19, I'm gonna be honest, it's not about me today. But when I was 19, I always had older friends. Like I had to grow up a lot faster, right? Like my
Gotcha.
mom was gonna buy me everything. I got my first apartment when I was 20. Like I had no choice. So it's just like I didn't have time to just party, and do all this everything else. Like I always like to connect with the grown folks because I just relate to with intellectual conversations. Like I'm trying to make moves out here and help my community and stuff. Not I can play later.
Hey,
you
there it
know?
is. That's good though. You were taught good work ethic, so that's always
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm appreciative of that. So but no, thanks for sharing that. But no, yes, they still teach that today, right? In schools. That's why I think it's important to hear these type of conversations, like what propels you to start your business, because 21, now about to be 22 years
Yeah.
is a big deal. And not only that, as a black woman as well. So like it's a big deal. And like when I met you, I was like, this is super cool because I'm from South Florida and I hate to say this, but like it's daunting because I don't meet a lot of like black owned businesses, but they've lasted for a long time. And it's like, oh, I met you in a office. Like I'm usually at work and I meet in places, but they're trying hard, they're working hard. So you inspire me, even though I have only known you for a short time. So that's
Oh,
why I
that
wanted to
means
have
a
you
lot
on.
to me. Well, you inspire me as well. I never act like I'm too old or I know everything,
Yeah.
because that's when you stop growing. So I
Mm,
may know a lot, but I don't know everything. So I
yeah.
always, move through life whenever I meet someone that I can learn something from them. Because
Yeah.
then when you feel like you know everything and you get like to an old saying, you get too big for your britches, if you will. That's very old for those of you who are watching. It's very, very old. But yeah, then you come across as a know-it-all, or no one
Mm,
wants to interact with you because why would I? No one can tell you anything. So I don't ever, profess to know everything. I do know a lot. I've experienced a lot, but I always keep an open mind to learn from, people who are older than me and people who are younger than me. Because there are a lot of young people who taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Because you guys move different, so I have to keep up with you guys. Because you know, I'm not old. So
No, you're that old. You're that old. Yeah, no, there's a saying. I think this is by Les Brown. He says, never too young to teach and never too old to learn. And I
that's it.
always, yeah, that's it, right?
Yep, that's it.
So yeah, I mean, huge fan of Les Brown, so and a lot of other motivational speakers. But I always want to be like that, like no matter what, just continue to be a sponge and just learn from each other. Because I feel like the more we have conversations, we'd be surprised like how much we can connect the dots
Hmm.
and help each other. So that's just my philosophy. Now, I don't be honest with you. So break it down to me, because I'm gonna be honest. I do not know a lot about public relations, but like I looked, I don't. I know, I don't. So what?
Shame on you.
I'm doing better. That's why I'm talking to you.
So
I'm bridging the gap.
you are bridging the gap, which is what I do. Bridge the gap between you and the media, you and your story, basically, which is
Yeah.
the tagline. But PR is exactly what it is. Public relations, how you, your business, your product relates to the public. So in public relations, it is my job to get the public talking about you. And a lot of times, like for example, if you see celebrities, like what's his name, Jonathan Winters, I think, the actor who just lost his career pretty much over a woman who said some things of a different ethnicity.
Hmm.
Um, so that can be spend, if you will, into a positive, but it just depends on who his PR team is. There's a way, for him to come back. Yes, probably lay low for a little bit and then, do some more positive things so people can see him in a positive light on a personal level, because people tend to quickly forget the craft and the gift that you have and that you've shared with the public. So when
Mm.
anything bad happens, so that's something that I do, is crisis management is the term for that. And so you want to make sure that, so with all my clients, I have a crisis management plan in place just in case, because you never know. And so something comes up, you always want to be in positive standing or in good light with the public, because the public can kind of make you or break you. And so,
Mm.
under the realm of public relations is branding, which is, how do you relate to the public with your brand, with who you are? You want to get to the place where when people see your logo, they know what it is. Like we all know what the golden arches are. We all know what the little swoosh is, when you see the swoosh, everybody knows it's Nike. Um, and then with Amazon, the little smile, the little box.
Right.
So that's where, my job is with the public, to really have you in good light and good standing across the board on your social media when you are doing media interviews. And that's another thing that PR people do. They connect you with the media to tell your story, because everybody has a story. However, if you say, well, I grew up in you know Houston, Texas, and you know I was on the streets and I needed to find a way to pull myself up, so I started selling uh nickel candy, something like that. Okay, well, that's great, but there's probably someone else who has in the story. So my job is to find the story that will relate to the public more. And
Mm.
meaning, oh, I can relate to that. So, for example, when you go to the movies, you're watching the movie, if it triggers you, when you cry, when you get upset, that actor has done their job, because they're supposed to get a reaction out of you whenever you're at the movies. So when you see a brand pop up, you're supposed to get a reaction out of you. They're supposed to get a reaction, whether if it's to make you smile, to make you sad, um, to make you want to spend money, basically. But people do business with people that they know and trust. And so putting your brand out there through public relations, how you relate to people publicly or how your brand relates, then because people will buy into you first. So, for example, we met, we had great conversation. To me, you came across very smart, very intelligent, good head on the shoulders. So when you sent me an email, I was like, oh yeah, okay, of course. Now, if you had approached me and kind of like, yo, what's up, that or whatever, just kind of
Yeah.
carried yourself in a different way,
Hmm.
no judgment. However, don't know if I would have agreed to,
Right.
because I would have done my research and looked it up and been like, which I did anyway. But beside the point, I'm just saying. But for my clients, I do that as well.
Right.
Because I want to
Right.
make sure that their brand is always protected. Because if it's not, if I book them for something and this person is associated with, I don't know, doing something harmful to, children, or um, they're connected to, anything that's not in good
Yeah.
standing with their brand or not in alignment with their brand,
Yeah.
then we don't do it. And that goes for partnering with people.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times my client will say, hey, this person reached out and they want to partner. And I say, okay, well, let me check it out first. So I'm the bad guy or the bad girl. So I'm the one who will tell people no, or um, let me think about it, or let me research that. Because when people feel like they have easy access to a client, then they'll go straight to them. And I'll say, well, you need to send them to me. I don't care if it's your friend. I don't care if it's your sorority sister, your fraternity brother, your family member. This is business. So it
Yeah.
has to be separated, because you hired me to get your brand, get your product, get your service out there. And so if you're giving away all of these services, how are you supposed to grow? And then you need to get that good, what do you call it, review, from people, because a lot of times people forget that. And so that again is public opinion. I mean, you see it every day. The public crucifies people, just like with the right now, Taraji P. Henson, Oprah
Hmm.
Winfrey, The Color Purple. See, you said, so you already
Yep.
know.
Yep.
So now they're trying to backpedal and spin it because they're not getting as many reviews or views of the movie because of
Mm.
that. Because there's this whole movement, Black women unite, stand strong, let's be together. And
Yeah.
so with that, and you're looking at Oprah like, wow, you underpaid her. Now, she never said that. She alluded to that. You understand what I mean?
Yeah. I
So
got you.
that's a crisis. And
That's a crisis moment
that's a
there.
crisis. And that's where
Okay.
crisis management needs to come in.
Okay.
So now that's why Taraji is on there now saying, no, no, Oprah and I, we're good. Da, 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 da. Eh, damage is already done. So public opinion is now like, oh yeah, we knew Oprah was this, Oprah was that, because they're
Yeah.
going back to things that she's done before. So
Mm.
yeah, so people are starting to pull old footage, old clips, and now it's in the public opinion judge and jury, which is the public.
Mm. Okay.
As a publicist, it's
Hmm.
my job to make sure that my clients' brand, their name, is in good standing with the
Hmm.
public, as
Hmm.
well as branding their brand so it builds more revenue, or becomes popular in the public. So whenever you Google them or whatever, something comes up, it's like, oh wow, okay, I know them. 9 times out of 10 is because of what I've done. And that includes social media, doing hashtags, when they do interviews, the same thing. So, and I'm my own publicist. So when I'm on different shows and different things like that, I put my brand out there because I am a brand also.
Right. Right. Now you made a lot of good points that I'm definitely gonna want to talk about. And I've learned a lot when it comes down to business. So they always say you can put as much products out there, services, but really people are really buying into you,
That's
like
right.
the person.
That's right.
And you just reminded me that because I've had times, I'm sure this happened to you with the first customer you had. It was like you didn't even sell the service. The
Nope.
lady was just like, "Oh, you did this? Oh, perfect. I'm gonna pay you."
Yeah.
And like now, even personally, I'm changing up the way I do business. I'm trying to do more like cold marketing and all these things because I do have a marketing IT agency, but like I'm so used to getting referrals, like I haven't had to like go bother people. So, but it's a good point. Like people just they'll buy what you have if they honestly and genuinely like you and support you. So that's good. Um, Now let me ask you this,
Hmm.
and I know why I do it, but I think I know the answer, but I'm not the expert. You are. So let me ask you this because they always say your social media pages and being in business, and even if you want to run for office and things like that, you need to keep that in mind. Now, you do damage control. So what I'm going to ask you is when clients hire you, like, do they need to clean up their pages at all? Like, does their past ever haunt them? Like, is that stuff you find out and then need to clean up? Like, how important is like carrying your social media? You know, you want to do something impactful.
So it's very important for one. And so before I take anyone on, I have this new client intake form. It's about
Mm,
15 questions. The very last question says, is there anything in your past that I need to know of that could possibly come up? That could be jaywalking ticket. I don't think they do that here in Houston, but a litter, you do trash on the street, you got a ticket for this, whatever. To where you think it may be something minuscule. The funny thing happens is that when you start to blow up, if you will, or get popular, all of a sudden, here comes so and so from 10 years ago.
yeah.
You did this or you said that. I mean, you've seen it with cancel culture. They're
Yep.
finding Twitter messages or posts that you put up, 15 years ago, making a statement that is now frowned upon, or it's not the best, doesn't show your best light. And so I do that so I can get out ahead of it in case something does happen or if it is brought up. So remember when I said earlier, I create a crisis management plan, if you will, just in case, just to have
Yeah.
those things in place. So I'm not surprised. And so that, you know, uh, kind of thwarts off a lot of that because, if you're prepared, then I know how to handle it. And so I don't like surprises. Now, don't get me wrong. I can, move on the fly as well. If I have to
Yeah.
do something on the fly, I can make it work. However, if we have a plan, then that's better. And then sometimes it may not go as we planned, and so you just move and adjust. And I've been in situations like that before. So case in point, I was in New York for New York Fashion Week in 20, I think it's 2016. And the client, she had a fashion house, if you will. So she would have models and they would do like go sees, in Paris. So we would go to Paris and then we would, go around the United States putting on these shows to raise money for whatever the nonprofit was. And so we would have medical doctors be the models. So it's really a great concept and what have you. And so um, we were doing a show in New York, and apparently someone on her team, not my team, her team, did not get the right papers signed. So
Oh,
yeah, and so we were
wow.
supposed to have this amazing fashion show at a very popular, very expensive hotel that was right across the street from the Benz fashion. What is it? Because that's where they have all the fashion shows. All the top designers.
Right.
But Fashion Week is a culmination of different fashion shows across New York City. So her show was across the street from the Mercedes Benz Park Plaza. I forget what it's called, but anyway, where
Yeah.
all the big fashion shows are. And so,
Yeah.
and all the celebrities were staying at this particular hotel as well. And so, her, the person on her team didn't get the right paper signed, and so they were like, technically because of what is it? For people to be safe and safety procedures, because you didn't sign this, you didn't sign the waiver, you can't have the fashion show.
Oh no. Oh
So talk about think fast.
yeah.
So I had to work around it. And basically, what we did was had everybody, and let me tell you something, I am flying by the seat of my pants with this. So I had everyone say, hey, you guys, we're going to, this is a unique, different experience. So we want you guys all to get your cell phones out, get your cell phones out. And so from the light of the cell phone, that was our lighting because we couldn't bring any lighting. We couldn't bring the carpet. We couldn't bring anything
Say what?
because the form was not signed.
Because it wasn't signed.
Wasn't signed. So for
Wow.
safety precautions and insurance,
Hmm.
we weren't able to do anything. So I was kind of like, so what if we were kind of like upstairs, order some food, and they're like, well, if you are up there ordering food, we were on the roof, then and you just kind of want to have a little what she said, like show clothes or whatever. So we're talking code, this lady and I, because she could not say what we could do to get around it, but
Okay.
I'm talking to her, throwing code at her.
Hmm.
And she was like, well, that's not a problem if you just
Right.
know, up there looking at the view and you wanted to show some clothes and see how it would look
Right.
under cell phone lighting. And I was like, oh, okay. So the thing was like, well, if you go over here, there's a couple of lights there. So what ended up happening is that they had like strobe lighting up there in this one particular spot. So it looked like a nice little runway. And so we had the models come in through this door and they just walked down, and I had everybody put their cell phone on. And then my client had, I think, 3 rooms.
Wow.
So as the fashion show is going, run downstairs to one of the rooms, get it all cleaned up. I had my assistant with me. We were throwing stuff on the side, and I turned it into the press room. So after the show was over, I escorted everyone and said, hey, everybody, it's not over. Please
Yeah.
come down to the press room. That wasn't a press room. That was a room where the models were getting dressed. Crap was in that room. Let me tell you something. I took all that crap out of that room, put it in
Okay.
another room, and put the signage in there. Had room service come up, put a spread out, and faked it like we had that prepared. And so when they came into the room and we had, wine and champagne, and they walked in and they were like, oh, this is nice. And we had the designers in there, the models in there, still wearing some of the designers' clothing, interviews, pictures, voila, success. That lady was like, I don't even know how to thank you.
Yeah.
You were amazing.
Yeah.
And so with that, because I was just supposed to run her shows in the States, she was like, I want you to go to Paris for me.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, not a problem. Now, something, just a little bit of my background. I am a military child. I am not an army brat. My father made
Okay.
it very clear. He is not raising any brats. You're an officer's daughter. So that's,
Okay.
that's what he said. I didn't say that.
That's
He
what he
said
said.
what he said.
Okay.
So I was raised in Kaiserslautern, Germany, but I also
Wow.
lived while we were there. I lived in Paris, Canada,
Mhm.
and London. So my mom, when my dad would go on tour, we would go to Paris because he was gone, 3 months, 6 months at a time. So we would go to Paris. So I picked up French. So I used to speak fluent
Wow.
French and German.
Wow.
The funny thing is, so I was going back and forth to Paris twice a year from 2014 to 2016. So when I would get there, it would be a little hazy. Then by the
Mhm.
time I left, I had it. I could read
Okay.
it, speak it, and it
Yeah.
would just come back. But when I
Wow.
get home, I have no one to converse with in French.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
there you go. So if I
Yeah.
was there, for a good month, easy peasy.
Yeah.
German for me, I think probably was a little bit tougher. So I don't
Okay.
speak it as much.
Mhm.
Um, but again, that's another thing. If I'm around it, I can hear it,
Mhm.
and speak it, and it'll come back to me. So anyway, I said all of that to say was that going back to Paris was easy because I'd already been there. I lived there for years, even though I was a little girl, because I was there from like 18 months to about 6 years of age.
Mm.
And I just picked up, the language, the culture, and everything. So her sending me back was like, oh, this is cool. It's like the second home for me.
Yeah.
So, but because I'd done such a great job in New York, she sent me to Paris on her behalf. Okay. Not only did I go to Paris with one of her models got picked up by Italy. And I ended up getting her a full spread in Pageantry magazine, which is an
Wow.
international.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
It is.
That's a big deal.
So if you want to ask me what is one of my proudest moments, that's one of those.
That's one of them.
Pulling it off in New York was another one. And
Wow.
I represented a young lady who had never ran for anything in her life. And she ran for judge. And instead of us doing
Okay.
the usual campaigning, I
Mhm.
did it from a PR perspective. And she won 63.8% her very
Wow.
first time.
That's her first time.
First time.
Wow.
Very first time
That's
running.
awesome.
3.8%. And the
Wow.
other person was endorsed by the Houston Chronicle, which is a big deal.
That is a big deal. Wow.
She beat that person. She beat her.
Wow.
And so, so those are, some of my prouder moments that, I mean,
Yeah.
I've had others, but those
Yeah.
stick out the most.
That's man, that's super awesome. We have a lot to talk about. That is so cool. I told y'all this was gonna be a big deal. This is so exciting. I just learned way more than I knew so far on the internet. So
Oh,
it's so
good.
cool.
Awesome.
Um, so we had a couple people want to say hi to. So we got Shayla here.
Hi,
She said
Sheila.
having a plan. She's probably like yes to the plan that you said, that emergency plan. We got Sunshine in North Charleston, South
Hey,
Carolina.
sunshine.
Welcome, welcome. And then we got Zay in Hampton, Virginia. And Patricia is loving the conversation.
Oh, thank you, Patricia.
And Darnold says bonjour. Hopefully I
Ah,
said it right.
bonjour, bonjour.
You make it sound way better. That's so
Comment
cool.
allez-vous?
I don't know what that means, but it
No,
sounds
just
nice.
how are you?
How are you? Okay,
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you that. So how do you say okay? So how do you say hello? And because
Bonjour.
that's French, but how do you
Yes.
say it in German if you remember?
Ah,
I'm putting you on
well,
the spot,
bonjour
but
is Guten Morgen.
wow.
Yeah, Guten Morgen. And
Okay, a
then
little
thank
more.
you is Bitte schön. Well, no, thank you is Danke schön, and you're welcome is Bitte schön.
Okay. Darnold just says something
We
else.
survive. We survive.
Okay. Okay.
I'm good. Basically, I'm
Good.
good. Yeah.
Okay.
Or you could say, bon, or and then good luck is bon chance.
Okay. So that's over my head, but I that's cool to know. I always, but it's one of those things when you learn a language, it's really fascinating because you get to connect with not only just a culture but other people there. Like I know a little bit of Spanish, being in South Florida. Just some people only speak Spanish, so it's like you try to find ways to connect. And even when I'm here in Houston, they're so shocked with their eyes are just because I sound so fluent
Yeah,
sometimes.
I'm sure.
And I'm like, well, I just love to put a smile on people's face. So, when you get to
Then you
speak
can
their
know if they're
language,
talking about you.
almost that means I need to get some more Spanish in my vocabulary. So,
That's always good to learn a language. My son speaks
yeah.
Mandarin, so
Oh
um,
wow,
yeah,
that's super cool.
he learned very easily. I don't know, since he was little, he was fascinated with the Asian culture. So
Asian culture.
mhm.
Okay, that's super cool. I was trying to learn how to write. Think Japanese or one of them
Oh
when I
yeah,
was younger, but
it's
I
really an
gave
art.
up.
Yeah, it's really.
Yeah, it is. It is. So I don't know. We'll see. But I want to go to Japan one day for sure.
Oh yeah, great
I want
place.
to go there in China. So but yeah, so that's cool. So you come from so your dad was in the military. What
Yes,
branch was he in?
Army.
Okay, he was in the army. So yeah, a lot of army brats have
See, that's their word.
army brat. Wait, what did he say you were allowed to say?
I'm an officer's daughter.
Officer's daughter, because that's a big deal. Okay, an
Yes.
officer's daughter. So
Yeah.
you were in Germany. So did you guys live any other places, any other foreign places, or just there?
So after there, we lived almost every state in these United States
Wow.
that has an army base. My father
Okay.
retired a major. He made a career out of it, 20 years. And then he went on to like kind of teach still in the military.
Mm.
And now he's finally retired, which is good. And enjoying, his life or what have you. But yeah, we traveled a lot, and then just on my own, I've traveled a lot,
Yeah.
as well. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So you've seen a lot of the world, which is super awesome.
I've seen a lot, but there's
Um,
still a lot I want to see.
still a lot you want to see. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
still a lot
cool.
I want to
That's
see.
cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, so now this is I'm connecting all the dots. So you definitely do um, incident management, problem management. So you need to be ready on the fly if something happens.
Crisis management.
Crisis management.
Yeah.
So that makes total sense. And you're saying, okay, your clients need to fill out a form, let you know anything that you basically need to know. I mean, that makes sense. So I got it. So public officials you work with, someone wanted to run for office as a
Mhm.
judge. You did one of those. That's great. And then the fashion show one turned into actually helping someone in Paris
Mhm.
to be with, was it Italy for the pageantry? Nash for the pageantry?
It
That's
was
what you got signed for?
Pageantry Magazine, which is an international
Pageantry magazine.
magazine.
Okay, that's super cool. And pageantry scene is big too. That's really huge. I mean, very competitive too.
Very,
Very competitive.
very competitive, even with the
Yeah.
blue people. Yeah,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
competitive. Yeah.
So that's super cool. So let me ask you, because yes, we do have business owners and we have people that have careers, but someone made a really good point. I wanted to find the comment really quick, but he was basically saying how with business and even with life, how important it is to network.
Mhm.
And how important is that in your business and just experience that you want to share with folks on about, networking?
So networking is very important. So here's a little secret: when you hire a publicist or a PR person or PR, you know, um, conglomerate, because I'm a boutique PR firm, meaning I'm just a smaller firm. What you're actually getting or hiring us for are our connections or relationships. I have relationships, I don't have connections. So, what I mean by that is, like, case in point, I'm a member of the Houston Association of Black Journalists and a member of the National Association of Black Journalists. And so, like they say, membership has its privileges. And being a part of both of those organizations, I also have built relationships with most of the media people here and nationally. So whereas, now don't get me wrong, some people can do PR on their own and they may get, a couple of interviews here or there.
Mhm.
However, it's the relationship. So whereas I can write a press release and send it to someone that I have a relationship with, then call them, not on their office phone, on their cell phone,
Mhm.
and say, hey, can you check your email, or send them a text? Hey, I just sent you something. I think it's a great story. My client is doing da da da. And I just saw that you guys reported on blah, blah, blah. See, that is a good publicist, because that means that their ears to the street, meaning they're paying attention to what is going on in the news, what they're reporting, what they're talking about. So, and that's what I do. When I watch the news, it's different. I don't watch it just to, the gloom and doom. I watch it for, um, how can I get my client to get on this show or be featured in this as an expert, or to
Mm.
offer their opinion. And because of networking, and being, so that's a part of networking, being a member
Mm.
of the Houston Association of Black Journalists, being a
Right.
member of the National Association of Black Journalists, and not only being a member, but like for the National Association of Black Journalists, we have a convention every year in August. Huge. Every producer, television personality, anchor, weather, sports person is there.
Wow.
Small shows to big shows: NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, um, CW39, BET, Fox Soul, any and every network that you can think of or show. These people are there. So when you go, you're talking to these people, you're building relationships with these people. And one of the things that I want to offer is to never, ever not talk to someone because you don't think that they are big enough in what they're doing. A lot of these people that I've built relationships with have been APs, which are associate producers, young people who've just gotten out of college, or they're digital producers, meaning it's a web series or web part of the news that they're producing. Don't ever discount them, even you, Carson, because here's the thing: all it takes is one whatever, and then you're big and you're out there.
Yeah.
Then people want to talk to those people. But let me tell you something: I treat everyone the same. That's why I
Mhm.
was telling you, I appreciate being on your show, and I'm
Mhm.
flattered that you would ask me, because I don't take anything lightly. And because to me, it's all important, it's all great. So when you meet someone and they're at the entry level or what have you, don't discount them.
Yeah.
I had people who started out here in Houston as interns at Fox 26, at the CW, anywhere else. Then they leave and they're calling me, hey, Miss Bridget, I just want to let you know I'm now the executive producer of the show at BET,
Wow.
or I'm at the Today Show,
Wow.
I'm here or I am there. That
Mhm.
is a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't get, oh, you're an intern. Oh, okay.
Right.
We'll do that
Yeah.
ever. And that's in any industry
Yeah.
across the board. So
Yeah.
yes, I said all that to say that networking is very, very, very important. And
Yeah.
don't discount anyone that you meet. And
Yeah.
don't be fake, don't push it, don't force it, is what I want to say.
Yeah.
You meet people, you converse, um, you see something in common, then hang out.
Yeah.
Hey, I realized that you were into da 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 da. I have tickets to this. Would you like to go? Or don't make it seem like you're buying them or what have you. Genuinely
Right.
build a relationship.
A
That's all you have.
relationship.
Yeah, when I
Mhm.
talk to the reporters and producers, the first thing I go is, "Oh, how old is your baby? She should be 2 by now, right? Oh my gosh, you remember that?
Remember that.
Yeah."
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
or if they like a certain drink or whatever, oh, hey, by the way, I just picked this up for you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you don't have to do that. I know, but I'm not, you like, you understand.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take you to lunch.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, let's go to lunch.
Yeah.
Little simple stuff. But people know you're being fake.
Mhm.
But here's the thing: journalists need publicists, publicists need journalists. So we all work together, we all go hand in hand. However, they don't like people who think that, oh, you need me,
Okay.
and who are very, what is the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to say a nice word. Who are who come across like they're privileged, if you
Mm.
will. Like, oh, well, you need me because,
Yeah.
great, da 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 da. So yeah,
Okay. We got a question for you. Sunshine says, "What is the line between a publicist and a talent agent?"
that's a very good question because they get crossed a lot of times. And sometimes talent agents take on the role of a publicist. But what a talent agent is supposed to do is get you booked for, so say like you're a model or you're an actor, they're supposed to get you booked for the part, or for the the game if you're, going into the NFL, and then they broker your deal with whatever it is as a talent. Then your publicist comes along and puts it out there that you just signed with so and so, and they build your brand up. So and so just signed with the, Houston Rockets, da da da, and then you get, your brand deals, and then you're out there on social media. They book interviews with you for you. Oh, how does it feel to be the face of blah 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 blah? Oh, we understand that you just got, signed with so and so. So that's the difference between a talent agent and a publicist. Did I answer your question, Sunshine? Let me know.
Yeah, let us know, and thank you for the question. I know
It's a very good question.
Zay says something. I love your book. Who are you?
Yeah, so
That's
thank you.
Wait a minute,
Thank,
because I went on this. I went on your website, by the way, which is really nice. I
thank
didn't.
you.
I didn't know you had. Is this on one of the? Is this one of your previous books or the ones right now?
No, so that book is there, and yes, it's called,
Oh,
No One Knows Who Are You, because no one knows who you are, basically saying that you're not branding yourself. That's why no one knows who you are. So,
okay.
and good old pandemic. Ugh. But anyway, so it'll actually be coming out again before the end of this year, sooner than later, because I have some people who are kind of on me because I was trying to give everyone their money back. I was so depressed. I kid you not, guys. I was so depressed. I had planned this book launch and everything,
Yeah.
wrote books, and then the world shut down. So then I just kind
Mhm.
of got discouraged, and I was just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, forget it, scrap the whole project." And I was giving people their money back, and they were sending it back to me, and I was like, "What are you doing?" They're like, "I want my book," and I was like, "Okay." So and which was good because I went back through it. I made a couple of edits, and so now my publisher is looking at it, and so it'll be available real soon. But thank you for that. Yeah, that title really kind of stuck with me because you know although you need PR, you need to be humble of what you
Mm,
have. You think you have a great product. Now we have to get the public to know that you have a great product. But here's the thing: you can't be arrogant about it. You know what I mean? So no one knows who you are. Oh, you're welcome, Sunshine. I'm glad I answered the question for you. I can see. Is it okay, Carson? Because I can see the
yeah,
question.
yeah, you're supposed to. I want you to. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. So yeah. What was I saying? Oh, so yeah, so that's how that book came about because people were like, well, I want to be a household name and I want to do this and I want to do that, but you don't want to make the investment for
Mm,
your PR
yeah,
and your marketing
yeah.
and your advertising. It all works together, but they're all different. People don't think they are, but they are.
Yeah. Yeah, you made a lot of really good points. And again, if you all have any more questions, I mean, y'all got us for a few more minutes, but in the meantime, yeah, this is really awesome. Some of the things that you mentioned that's really big for me is like you said, it's not about just having a contact of a person. It's like you're focused on building a relationship.
That's right.
And people miss that. Like you literally could have such a great deal at a venue or the perfect photographer or whatever, you would really just build the relationship. Like people don't realize that. And like I'm really big on energy as well too, right? So, I like to meditate and all these things, but it's for a reason because I like to connect with the right people. And the thing that you said that reminded me just now is like don't force it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I've had times, I'm guilty of it. Like I really want to work with someone, and I'm like, okay, Carson, you're a people person, but your energy, something's not right here. Like, just let it go. So, I appreciate you pointing that out as well. So,
Yeah, just let it naturally happen. You
yeah,
know, my name is Bridget.
yeah,
Bridge. It's what I do.
bridge,
I
yeah,
bridge people. I've been bridging people forever.
yeah.
And I've done it where I've been at events and I'll see this person, I'll see this person. I'll be like, wait a minute, you do this, right? Well, they do. Hey, talk. Then I walk,
Oh,
and then
you walk away. Okay,
then I walk
yeah,
away.
okay.
Later on, I'll get a phone call or they'll see me later. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for introducing me to that person.
Oh, wow,
When people come up to me or they contact me and they do it on purpose and they say, hey, can you connect me with so and so and so? And I had someone pay me to, or want to pay me, let me rephrase that, want to pay me to get a certain contact. And I was like, no, that's not how that works for me.
yeah,
Because the reason why I have these relationships with these people is because also I'm trustworthy. You don't get, celebrities or people in power to give you their number and then you give it out. No, I don't do that. If we're somewhere, they meet you, I'll introduce or whatever if I feel like it's an appropriate thing, because I
okay,
don't always do that either. But
yeah,
when it's a client, it benefits them because of my relationships. Remember, I
yeah,
was telling you paying for my relationships
yeah,
because and not to say anything against anybody, but sometimes you just can't walk into a room and walk up to this person and say, "Oh, hey, how are you?" Because they'll kind of look at you like, "Oh, hi," you know what I mean? Or their
yeah,
security team will attack you. Either
yeah,
way. However, if they're with me, and that's because too, I have carried myself with integrity
yeah,
and with trust. And
yeah,
so people trust me and I want to keep that like that. So I don't sell my contacts, relationships that I have because that's inappropriate for me. And for me, integrity goes a very long way with me. And that doesn't sit well with me. But if it happens naturally and we're in a certain environment, amazing. Yes, let's do it. However, I'm not going to force it. Oh, and another thing I want to say, entrepreneurs, please do not say to people who are like up in the industry, you want to pick their brain. That is the most insulting thing you can say ever. Do not say I want to pick your brain.
yeah,
Just say I would love to, invite you for coffee. Your dime, okay? Don't invite someone and then expect them to pay. If you can't pay for it, then ask if you can have 30 minutes of their time over Zoom. That's it. Don't say I want to pick your brain. Just say, can I have 30 minutes of your time so I can, talk to you about some career choices or some career moves that I'm ready to make or I want to make. I admire you. I feel like you've done da 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 da. And do your research on people. I'm gonna tell you this one little trick that I do. Before
Hmm.
you go to an event or a networking event, pick out who it is that you want to meet. So basically go with intention. Don't just
Mm.
go for the free drinks and the free food.
Yeah.
Go with intention as to why am I going to this event? Then find 3 to 5 people, key people that you would like to talk to that you know are going to be at this event. Look them up on LinkedIn so you can see some of the accolades that they've done, some of the awards that they've received, some of the things that they're doing, whether it's in the community or with their company, anything like that. Then, as you speak with them, you're telling them about them. People love to talk about themselves. So, when you
Yeah.
kind of confirm that you've done their homework, that's going to impress them. Then, when you have that ask to say, I would love to um, you know, have a chat with you on how I would like to, forward my career, advance my career in this area. I've seen that you've done that. You've been number one 3 years in a row in this category. And you start regurgitating back to them what you researched. That's half the battle. Then you'll get their attention because then it's like, oh, okay. I used to do that when I would go to New York Fashion Week every year. So I had a client, not saying who, I had a client, and we would get into these high private after party shows. Now, some we were invited to, don't get me wrong, but then there was some that was like, really, really celebrity, tight security. And whenever you walk in a place like you belong, then you belong. And we would get in, no problem, because 9 times out of 10, there was somebody in there that I knew or that she knew or both. So then it was like, hey, come sit at our table. And it never failed. Tables were never full. And so we would just sit down. And it wasn't about partaking in the meal, it was about being in the room. And once you're in the room, you do the rest. I can't hear you, Carson.
Shoot, I'm on mute. Sorry. See, she was giving me a PR advice. She was taking care of it before it became a crisis.
That's right.
I love it. That is man, I was just saying, woo, that's a lot of tea right there this is a good way for us to kind of get ready to end everything. But wow, I love that because I had been in the IT field for like over 10 and a half years. And anytime I would work at all these corporations, big companies, and I would always get to know different teams, right? Whether they're network team, security team, project management. I would just love to talk to them, but I never was like, oh, I want to get in your department. It's like you said, it's like get to know someone and like just understand, like don't just be like, oh, just help me, because they don't have to, right? And I don't like to pick my brain thing because people have been doing that to me lately too. Like when I came to Houston, it was like, wow, they want to pick my brain, but I'm like, oh, it's because of how much value you have and they want this information.
Right.
But there's a way to do it, and it does feel better if it's you building a relationship because you might learn way more about that person than what you already know, you know
That's right. That's
so
right.
I love that. That's some. I'm excited. I was taking notes, by the way.
Oh, I saw you.
Okay, and if y'all wasn't taking notes, that's on you. But you want to replay? Make sure you look at the replay and take some notes because this is good. Because I went to I never been to like a summit before for IT.
Oh,
So yeah, because I want to change up my company a little bit because I've always wanted to do it on my own instead of just focusing on marketing. So I said, like you said, go in those rooms like you belong there.
that's right.
And I think just I don't know if it's just growing up or just as black and brown folks, but like you're so used to just go to work, rinse, repeat, or oh, I don't have $1 million yet. I don't know. They might not take me serious, but no, I went to that summit. I was like, there's CISOs there, which are CISOs are like the top cybersecurity people, like they're the managers. That's all that was there. I mean, BlackBerry was there, like all the big companies.
Wow.
And yeah, I was able to talk to some folks and it was really cool, but I still got to practice on it. But I researched some of the panelists because there was a lady there that was like top of her game in Houston, and I was testing it out. I was like, okay, let me not just pick her brain. I was like, let me do a 60-second elevator pitch, sort of, but just getting to know her. And it worked because she didn't just brush me off. Like, I just was like, oh, I know shit. You've done panels. Like, you've been on this board. Like, I was just really trying to get to know her. So,
But that's good though, and then something you can see if you have in common with them.
yeah, exactly. So, but you guys got to do your homework. That's key. I did
Yep.
my homework before this interview. I didn't say a whole bunch because she was already leading the way. But I'm excited. It's 2024. Okay. So the last thing I'm gonna lead with, because I feel like they need to hear this.
Okay.
As a business owner,
Mm-hmm.
because something that happened to you at your book happened to me with Financial Tea, and y'all don't know this, but
Ooh, you selling the tea?
a little bit. We might have to do a part 2.
Okay.
But you said that this book, right? You
Mhm.
were going to say, hey, I'm just going to give people's money back because things happen. But you said you had people in your corner that was like, well, even your customers was like, no, we want the book.
You want the book?
And thank you for sharing that, because so many times people look at us entrepreneurs and they're like, oh, we see the success and they see, your Bridges, PR Bridges and everything like that, her story. And it's so amazing, but you don't realize that you even have to pivot. So over almost 22 years now,
Mm-hmm.
what suggestion you give to pivot? Because it's hard, right? I mean,
Well, I don't like to use the word hard. I like
okay.
to use the
I
word
like
challenging. Challenging.
challenging.
Mhm.
Okay.
Because it's just softer to me than
Okay.
hard, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yes, it has been challenging being an entrepreneur, because any business ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
And when the pandemic hit, that was kind of tough to bounce back from, and then I had someone that was like, you know what, we want to take a chance on you, and so they've been a client now 3 years,
Wow.
so coming up on four actually.
Wow.
And yeah, and they signed in 2020 of
Wow.
August 2020,
August.
when we had just somewhat were coming back to life, but not really. And so, made strides and are making strides, with this client. And so, um, it's been a thing of reinventing yourself.
Okay.
So pivot and reinvent, kind of the same thing. So when you pivot, you kind of have to go with the flow, because we were zoomed out. Everybody's doing everything on
Yeah.
Zoom. And now you
Yeah.
can kind of see it in the culture. No one dresses up anymore because
Right.
they're so busy. It was just easier that, oh, I don't have to put on, I could just dress from the waist up, instead of pajama bottoms on and slippers, house shoes, and, move around like that. So Zay said, yes, part two.
Yes, Jay, come on. I need more cheerleaders. Let's go.
And so yeah, so pivoting, you have to just be open to change. And a lot of people aren't. A lot of people um are afraid of change, or they want to stay in the same rut. The saying that goes, when you keep doing the same thing and getting the same result, is the definition of a crazy person. Well, I'm not calling you crazy. However, you need to pivot and challenge yourself and shake things up a bit.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, that's okay, because you tried. And then you pivot
Hmm.
again and you do something else. You stay the same, do the same thing all the time, you'll never grow.
Yeah.
Case in point, I did the same thing that all the ladies did, from the housewives and all that stuff, because I used to wear very, 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 very long weave. Very
Uh,
long weave. If I had a picture, I'd show it to you.
was it touching the floor?
Not the floor, but
Okay.
past my butt.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was pretty
Okay.
long. And the name was Long Hair Don't Care.
Right.
And so, yeah, long hair don't care.
Don't care. Yeah.
Same little part, that all the other, people did. I just kind of fell into that mold.
Yeah.
And one day I was watching stuff and I was looking at stuff and I was taking out the weave and I saw this beautiful curly hair. It was my hair. I was like, ooh, this is kind of cute. So, combing it out, brushing it out, and then I was like, this is cute, but I want big hair. And so I just started doing different things, and yes, add more hair into my hair, but it is what it is. I'm a woman. But that's kind of my signature look, this big hair. And when I tell you,
Yeah.
I get, well, at first, I would get from other women, and other ethnicities that want to reach out and touch my. Please don't touch my hair.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
That's a no-no. If I had $1 for every time another ethnicity tried to touch my hair, I'd probably be a billionaire by now. Okay.
Right.
So, but suffice it to say, that was me stepping outside of the comfort zone I had built for myself.
Mhm.
I love fashion. I have a YouTube channel that's about fashion. This is me, Bridget, and because I like to thrift, and I teach women, or I put outfits together that are thrifted, or the top is thrifted, or the jacket is thrifted, with
Oh,
something else, and just to show women that you can look like $1 million without spending $1 million.
okay.
And
Cool.
so, and because I love fashion so much, I was just like, that's my other outlet, because
Yeah.
I used to, when I first started, I used to do the consulting thing. I was a fashion consultant. And,
Oh, okay.
and I do media training for my clients. So what that means is, I teach you what to say, I provide you talking points, and then
Mhm.
I dress you because
Mhm.
there's a certain way, certain things you should wear and not wear, certain way you should sit, certain
Yeah.
way you should, the whole
Yeah.
thing. I go through the whole gambit. So
Wow.
that's just one of the things that I love is fashion. I'm not afraid to put colors together, different prints and patterns together, and it
Yeah.
always looks amazing. But
Yeah.
that was the thing. I had to step out of my comfort zone
Yeah.
and be me. That's why it's called This Is Me Project.
This is me.
Because this is me. Take
Yeah.
it or leave it. You love
Yeah.
it, great. You don't, have a nice life.
Right.
Yeah, because
Right.
I don't need to
Yeah.
force anyone to like me.
Right.
Especially, and I'll let you know, I'm 54. And so for me, I was just like, you know what? Life's too short. I can't, I'm 54. Well, it was before that, but I'm just saying, I just decided to be me.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the key, right? You said a lot of really good, great points again. I appreciate it
Well,
because, yeah, I mean, you do have a moment where, I would tell people because I also did, I've done coaching and mentoring, and I would say something I got to remind myself too is just don't get so tied to the end result either,
hmm
and you got to have fun with it, especially your business. You got to have fun with it. So
and when you're having fun, you're not working.
right. Exactly. And but crazy part about it, that's how I am with financial tea. Like this is just I love doing it. You don't have to push me out of bed to do it. Like I love it just being here around people, and I hope to empower as many people as possible and bridge the wealth gap, especially in the Black and brown community. But I'm for everybody. But you gotta do action, and it happens, right? And the pandemic, a lot of companies didn't make it, but the ones that did, and you still persevere, you could always restart. It's a new year, right? It's 2024.
You can
So
always restart, repivot.
yeah. Exactly. So I'm not gonna have any more information shared just yet because y'all gonna have to hire her now because we ain't doing too much free stuff here. But I'm just kidding. But yeah, there's a lot of tea that was being shared, and I really really do appreciate it. So yeah, so thank you, Bridget. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I said it good with confidence.
You sure did. Bravo,
I
Carson.
still was
Bravo.
sweating, but we're gonna talk about that after the show.
Oh my gosh.
No, but seriously, but like you said, y'all have to pay attention to like every time that Bridget is talking, is you're constantly branding yourself always. So like even your book, even your business, and it's so crazy because now this is a side note. I gotta talk to you about this after, but like I don't like to look like the know-it-all and stuff, and like people be like, Carson, use your looks and all this. I'm like, I don't. I'm supposed to be humble and all this thing, but at some point you really just got to own it and be yourself. Like, I love how your hair is. Matter of fact, that was the first thing that, no, because seriously, it reminds me how when I first met you, like you're dynamic. Like, even besides the hair, is like, she's the one I want to talk to because it's bold. Like, I'm going to be myself, like, regardless. Because too many people are just trying to fit in. Like, that's cool. Anybody can do that. Zay says, thank you, Queen. He appreciates the conversation.
Thank you,
Um,
King.
So, all right. So, Bridget, do you have anything else you'd like to share before we close it out for tonight?
So I would like to share and leave you with this. If you believe you can or cannot, you're absolutely right.
Mm,
That's it.
okay. And by the way, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, believe we still call it insanity. So
Yes,
I
insanity.
want to break that.
Yeah, you want to break that. And to thine own self be true. You know, something you really want to do and it's all
Yeah.
yours, do it. Just like you,
Yeah.
Carson. Who would think
Yeah.
of tea time? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that's something that you would think, a woman, because women
Yeah.
usually do tea, but that's not
Yeah.
true.
Exactly.
That's why I told you I love the name.
Yeah.
Great
I
name.
appreciate it. Well, I got anything I do, I have to stay being creative. Even if I'm, collaborating with people, I said, listen, I gotta be myself
That's
because
it.
I gotta be creative is the biggest thing.
That's it.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I want to thank everyone that tuned in from wherever you are. And listen, after this conversation, it sounds like I need to take this PR thing very serious. The PR, I'm not gonna say thing. The PR boutique that you have. I have heard a lot of good things about, you know, doing a publication and things like that, or organizing your
Publication.
imaging and all those things. I keep saying publication. No, what is that statement when like a nonprofit or something wants to have like something in the news? What is that called? That article that has to be written?
It's an
Is it?
article.
It's just an
So
article.
publication is when you write a book, so you have a
Oh, the
publisher.
book publisher. See, I'm messing y'all up. I'm
No,
not the.
no, it's fine, but I get that a lot. People are like, oh, so you publish books? No, the people who published the book,
Yeah,
who've written the book. Yeah,
yeah.
but it's okay. But yeah, publication is kind of like a magazine, so you're not
A
far,
magazine.
but
Okay.
it's that's what it's called in the
Yeah.
industry. The publication. So the Houston Chronicle is a publication.
So that is something you do too, right?
No, I
Or
put
no?
people in the art, I get the articles written for them. Now, if there are
Okay.
some publications who, because I'm also a freelance journalist, they'll say, well, if you write the story, then we'll put your client in. But I'm like, say less. Any
Oh.
way that I can get my clients out there, if I have
Mhm.
to write the story myself, that's fine. I'll do it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, that's super awesome. Yeah, because you want someone that knows how to write those articles. Because
that part.
even with AI on the rise, you still need a professional
Still
because
be professional.
you know
Absolutely.
you can't beat over 22 years in the game. You just
Well,
can't.
I appreciate that.
You can't. So shout out to you.
Thank
I
you.
wanted to do this because at the end of the day, we're here to highlight businesses and women, especially, women of color, black women. It's a big deal. Like, you all deserve all the flowers, and I appreciate you and thank you again for your time of being here on the show. So, and I appreciate. So if you all didn't learn something, I'm pretty sure you did, though. I'm sure you did. But if not, run it back, share it with your friends, and make sure now, Bridget, make
Yeah.
sure. Wait, let me mess it up. See, I'm about
No,
to mess it
you're
up. I
right.
did it good. Whew. Okay, so listen, how do they find you? I know, tell them your website and everything. In case they want to, become a client if they're qualified, obviously. But
So my website is shebridgespr.com.
okay,
You can find me on Instagram at the Fashionable Publicist. So I did rebrand myself. I'm the Fashionable
okay,
Publicist because I think what I say, PR is what I do. Fashion is who I am. And you can find me on Twitter, well, X, excuse me, at She Bridges PR, She Bridges underscore PR. You can find me on TikTok. This is me, Bridget. And you can find me, I also have an Instagram, This is me, Bridget, and my YouTube page, This is me, Bridget, and Facebook, She Bridges PR as well.
love it, love it.
Thank
Again, thank you so much, so much. So
you.
I hope to see you again on our show. Hopefully we'll do something in person too, an event or something. We'll figure it out, but it's a
Absolutely.
lot to do. New year, we're taking off.
You're taking
Let's
off
do
the
it.
takeover.
Yes, the taking over part. I love that. I love that.
Indeed.
All right, everyone. I hope you all have an amazing night wherever you're listening from, and catch us on the next Tea Time episode. You all have a great day, great evening, great morning whenever you listen to this. So again, don't forget to stay rejuvenated.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.